Two of them. The one who speaks, and he will, at great length, whether you want him to or not, will make mention of himself as a prophet. The other one, well, he's a quiet type.
Is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
If I'm gonna do this, I'll need my news team at my side. News team! Assemble!
And welcome to the Burger and Badass Show. We are back like we are every Wednesday night, doing our thing, talking a little bit about sports. And this episode is a little special for us, Badass, because, you know, this is episode 26. Half a year. We're already half a year into this thing.
Yeah, we've been at this for 6 months. It's actually pretty cool to think of it in those terms. You know, when you say 26 weeks, you know, that's a long time. When you say 6 months, it's like it sounds more impressive almost.
It does. It really does. I mean, wow, 6 months of shows. I mean, just flew right by.
Yeah, and we keep getting better with each go-round, so I'm actually liking what we're doing here.
I mean, imagine where we started at episode like 3 or 4. And now we're slowly getting into episode 26 now, 27 next week. I mean, it's impressive to see where we went from to where we're at now.
Oh, the progress has been insane.
I mean, we started off with no intro music, no outro music, no clips or nothing like that, to having intro music, outro music, intro clips that we played during the show. I mean,
like I said, we're evolving. We're getting better with each show. We'll keep adding more, take more out, put more in. Just wait till we actually get Skype hooked up and we can field phone calls.
Yeah, especially once we get everything hooked up with a laptop and everything, get the soundboard mixer in there, and then we can do Facebook Live with everybody so they can actually see us doing our show. That's going to be really neat because they're going to interact with us and they can actually ask us questions, you know, on there while we're doing the show, or comment on something. And we can read them on air, which is going to bring a little more element to the show.
Yeah, it's generally going to make everything better because there'll be more discourse.
And then that means we can play the game.
Yes, this is true. We can actually play the game with people. We can't really tell them what it is, though, because until we actually have it to where they can, you know, compete and join in and actually participate, there's no need to actually drop the bomb.
Yeah, definitely. So, but that's going to be really interesting. It's a cool game, like I said before. Me and Badass played it numerous times, and it's got a really cool aspect to it. So, once we get that all set up and we get live going, we get you guys coming in and constantly, you know, getting 10, 11, 12 viewers in there, we'll start doing games of baseball where we play like 3 innings of it. Oops, I said too much, didn't I?
Yeah, see, you done dropped the ball, man.
I know. I just get so excited. I just want to say something.
Everyone completely disregard what you heard. You didn't hear anything he just said.
Okay. So, Badass, go ahead. We got a big show tonight. I know I was doing the prep this week, and I was like, damn, I got 12 stories, and 12 quality stories. So, I mean...
Yeah, I tried to tell you that we didn't have to worry. I mean, I remember a couple weeks ago, you're like, man... we're going to start getting to where there's no stories. And I was like, man, don't worry about that. That's just not how it's going to be.
I am a little worried going into the summer, going into the fall. A little bit.
I wouldn't be. People are always going to present stories. Someone's always going to be caught DUIing or boating with naked women. Something's going to happen.
It always does.
It does.
Athletes, for some reason, decide to be assholes in the public eye, and then they get arrested, and then we get to talk about it here on the show.
Or they'll do something really cool, and it's a good thing that we can talk about. As rare as it is, it does happen.
I was gonna say, that's rare. We don't see that happen that much.
It's true, but hey, we can always dream, can't we?
We can.
Huh.
So let's go ahead and get into the show, episode 26, doing our thing. And I wanted to start off by doing the official tying the bow on the season of what has been the NCAA March Madness. So the NCAA March Madness concluded this past weekend, and man, all three games were absolutely amazing. Great games, bad officiating, bad play by two teams in the championship game. We will talk about that here in length here very shortly.
Okay, let's not put the horse before the cart, cart before the horse. Let's not put any of it before the fucking asphalt.
So let's go ahead and go with the Final Four, which actually both games were absolutely amazing.
No, that's what I was going to actually say. The Final Four games were spectacular. They really were. That's the actual two meetings between South Carolina Gonzaga and Oregon North Carolina were spectacular. They really were.
So the Final Four was on Saturday, and it lived up to the hype. On the left half of the bracket, you had number one Gonzaga doing everything they could and pulling every trick out of the bag to get the win over South Carolina, defeating them 77-73. And we watched this game, and man, that was one hell of a game. I thought South Carolina might pull it out in the end.
I'm not going to lie. I remember when I first turned on the radio and heard the game, they told me Gonzaga had a commanding lead over South Carolina. I mean, commanding lead. And then that lead shrunk. And all of a sudden it went from 14 to 12, 12 to 10, 10 to 9, 9 to 7, 7 to 4, up, boom, they're tied. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, dude, bunch of stubborn cocks, dude.
I had, really? you had to throw that pun in there, didn't you?
They were tenacious dicks. They really were.
There's another one. Boom, boom, boom.
Dunch. Yeah, I'll be here all week.
But, watching the game, I had a good analogy when I told you this. We were watching the game, and I said, Gonzaga's like the cat, and South Carolina's like the mouse. And Gonzaga would let them get away a little, pull away a little bit, let them get, a little bit of distance. And then all of a sudden, boom, here comes the mice, closing in. Boom, South Carolina, they go on a 10-0 run. Boom, Gonzaga gets back out to an 8-0 run. Then boom, Gonzaga fights back with like a 14-0 run. I mean, it was just one of those games that it went back and forth where it looked like Gonzaga was going to pull away, and then all of a sudden, boom, here comes the Gamecocks roaring, as the Gamecocks do. And
they don't give up, man. They really don't
give up. I mean, they really impressed me this year. As much as I hate giving the Gamecocks credit, I got to give them credit. Next year, if people stick around, they could be again back to the Final Four.
They won't. Like, as much as I adore their Cinderella story, they're not going back to the Final Four next year. But I will posit this scenario. I think if Sindarius Thornwell didn't have the flu and was playing half battery because he was feeling the flu, I think that game would have went way different, and I think we'd have seen South Carolina facing North Carolina in the championship, and that's a whole nother basket of eggs. I know all that, but I'm not going to make excuses because it is what it is. We know who won what, but I think that South Carolina showed that they had tremendous heart. Tremendous.
I mean, who wouldn't have wanted to see a South Carolina, North Carolina NCAA final?
I thought that would have been pretty cool, but we didn't get it. We didn't.
No.
Gonzaga pulled it out in the end. They did.
So looking at some stats, Gonzaga's Nigel William Ghost led the way with 23 points and 5 rebounds and 6 assists, while Przemysl Karnicki had 13 points and 5 rebounds. The Gamecocks were led by P.J. Doozer, who had 17 points and 9 rebounds, while Chris Silva had 13 points and 13 rebounds. I mean, that's pretty impressive. 13 points and 13 rebounds, a double-double.
Double-double, that's right. It was a double-double. That's having a good game.
Then in the right half of the bracket, number one North Carolina behind Kennedy Meek's rebounding skills edged out number 3 Oregon 77-76. Meek led the way for the Tar Heels with 25 points and 14 rebounds, while Justin Jackson had 22 points, and Joel Berry added 11 points. So, I mean, not too bad. I mean, they heck of a game. They had a fight from Oregon, but in the end, North Carolina was just a little bit too much.
It's true. I mean, as far as the Gonzaga-South Carolina pick, I had South Carolina. That wasn't right, but I also, again, when Oregon-North Carolina, I had North Carolina picked correctly, so I was good to go. I know a lot of people had Oregon, and for that, you were wrong too. You didn't do very good either.
So, it was a very, very good game. I mean, Oregon looked very impressive against North Carolina. They were in this game throughout the whole thing, and, it's one of those things that, like, we talk about teams of destiny. North Carolina was just one of those teams of destiny.
Yeah. I can't even argue that. It's true.
I mean, they just seem like they just did enough to get by, to get to where they need to be.
It almost seems like North Carolina, once the Final Four was set, it almost seemed like they were destined to win. Because you had Gonzaga, first trip to the Final Four ever. Mark Few never been in these territories before. You had Frank Martin, who, with South Carolina, had never been in these territories before at their first Final Four. And you had Oregon, who hadn't been to the Final Four since like 1939 or some World War II shit like that. And, and then you have fucking Roy Williams and North Carolina, who's, we were just here last year. It almost had a feeling like you knew what was going to happen just simply because it's like you have three piss ants and a juggernaut in the room. And anytime you put three piss ants and a juggernaut in the room, what usually happens?
Juggernaut crushes them.
Very rarely what'll happen. The three piss ants will come together and defeat the juggernaut.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like what, 1 out of 100?
1 out of a million.
And what happened?
But Oregon's Tyler Dorsey led the way for the Ducks with 21 points and 4 rebounds, while Dylan Ennis had 18 points, 6 rebounds, and Jordan Bell added 13 points. So that now set up the number 1 Gonzaga versus number 1 North Carolina for the NCAA championship. And you look at these two teams, you're thinking, damn, this is going to be a high-scoring game, a really good game. Yeah.
Incorrect.
Yeah, I was wrong on that one.
And I do believe we all had Gonzaga to win it, and just a whole lot of fucking no around here. A whole lot of that's exactly what it was.
It was. I mean, it was just... all I can say is this game was probably one of the ugliest basketball games I've ever seen in every aspect. By the referee's bad calling, North Carolina's shooting abilities, which were not there, and the Gonzaga shooting abilities were not there. I mean,
if we're going to really rate this entire game, this is what we got to give it. No shit, people. That was not a good game. If you would have told me at the beginning of the game that North Carolina's going 4 for 27 downtown and they're still going to win the game, I would look at you and just at how? How?
Well, actually, that's what I wanted to talk about. Was I want to start off with North Carolina's ability to not be able to shoot the ball. Now, listen to this stat. This is scary. North Carolina was 26 of 73, shooting at a 36% rate.
Oh, no! We suck again!
Yeah, I'd say so.
They were 4 for 27 from three-point land at a 15% rate, which we just talked about.
That's horrible. That's what I'm talking about. 15%. You couldn't... that's what I'm saying. You couldn't have got pussy if you had a $100 bill hanging out your zipper at the fucking Mississippi whorehouse. Are you kidding me?
And then they were also 15 for 26 from the free throw line, shooting at a 50% rate, which is just absolutely horrible from the free throw line. You want your team shooting at least 70 or above. 75 or above.
Easy.
You do not want them shooting at 58%.
No, especially on easy shit. We're not talking about contested shit. We're talking about easy stuff. I don't even get me started on all the fucking the layups and the fast breaks that were missed. Hell, I saw a lot of air balls. I saw the ball getting chucked the fuck out of bounds for no reason. It was like just fucking nerves after nerves, and I didn't expect that from North Carolina. Gonzaga, yes, but these both teams played like they were playing on a sheet of fucking ice the entire game.
You know what I saw, badass?
What did you say?
It was a brick house.
Seriously though.
I just saw so many bricks, so many air balls, So many missed shots.
You know what it looked like to me? It looked like if we went out and started playing basketball in the backyard. That would be our stats. If you gave us a legitimate official hoop, wood, the basketball and everything and said, all right, y'all start shooting. 4 for 27 from 3 is like my numbers because I don't play amateur or professional basketball. I suck at it. Like, to dribble alone is good enough. Like, I can actually chuck up a shot, but I'm talking like 4 for 27? I mean, my God, I'm pretty sure I could do that even contested, just chucking it up and saying, hail, fuck, Mary.
I mean, even in a national championship game, I mean, this is supposed to be the creme de la creme of games.
The two best teams from the whole
two best
field.
teams from the whole thing. After all this, these are supposed to be the 2 best teams, and that's what we got?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, embarrassing. Embarrassing for NCAA. And I mean, the only really good thing that really came from this thing was a very competitive game.
I mean, it was competitive, but like...
It was competitive, but it was ugly.
And you know what? And both teams can actually gripe about the bullshit officiating. I mean, 22 fouls apiece. I mean, both teams can be like...
Man, I had my shit washed in, bro, big time.
Yeah, dude, there was some zebra shit pushing going on. It was just every time they'd get going, foul, foul, foul. I mean, hell, every good player for both teams were in foul trouble. And just 4 fouls, like, across the board. Like, everybody's about to foul the hell out of the game. And you're like, let them fucking play the game. Jesus Christ, let them bump a little bit. Let them play. You completely fucked the flow of the game. I mean, I watched it. It was disgusting.
I mean, one of Gonzaga's star players fouled out with 12 minutes to go in the game.
Right. I mean, we're talking like, this is big time, man. Like, people want to see the game. Like, I understand you got to call fouls and shit, but that's through the regular season, and I get it but this is the fucking championship game. Let them play.
See, that was exactly what you were in my head right there. I was thinking the same exact thing. Let them play. It's the final game of the year. Let some stuff go. I mean, they were calling petty fouls. Guy slaps him on the wrist barely. I mean, barely touches him. Foul. I was like, really?
How much are you willing to bet that if we were to ask every single player that played that game if the refs were being too hands-on, I bet you all of them would be like, yeah, I wish they'd let us play the fucking game. Couldn't get anything going because goddamn whistle's blowing for a foul every 8 seconds. I mean, it's serious. Like that. I looked at Berger at one point and I said, hey, Berger, this is an ugly game. And I'm sitting there watching it with Berger, my wife's dad, and my wife's dad, who's 50 years old, by the way, who is like paying half attention to the game and half to his iPad. He's probably reading a book or whatever he's doing. It was obviously more interesting than that game. So it tells you how much it fucking sucked. He even looks up and goes, this is quite possibly one of the ugliest games I've ever seen played for a championship game. This just that nothing's happened. The refs keep calling too many fouls. They can't even get the game going. Mind you, he's halfway paying attention to it. That's how bad the shit was.
And just to let you know, Tar Heels also had 46 rebounds and 22 personal fouls called on them, which you were just talking about. I mean, if that's not ugly, I don't know what is. And then it doesn't get much better on the other side. You have Gonzaga, who shot 20 of 59, shooting at a 34% rate. They were 8 for 19 from three-point land, shooting at a 42% rate, which isn't bad.
Which is better than North Carolina, but I tell you what, there was one thing that killed them. I'm pretty sure you're going to get to it.
I will here in 1 second. They were 17 for 26, shooting at a 65% rate from the free throw line. And the Zags also had 14 turnovers.
That's what killed them.
Yeah, that did. They had 14 turnovers, and they had 22 personal fouls called on them, too. So, you think about it. 44 fouls called. And, I mean, some of them were petty fouls. I mean, there were some fouls that need to be called. There was that one against the big guy with a beard. What was his name? The big guy. Karnowski. Yeah. There was one where the guy, he went for the ball and tripped over him. And they called a flagrant 1 on him.
And he didn't do anything.
And he didn't do nothing. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? I mean, did he really just call that? I mean, then there was a ghost foul. How many times did I say ghost foul?
Yeah, seriously, that was twice because you were just like, look at this. He didn't even touch him, and yet here they are calling a foul. I mean, that's why these things need to be contested. But for that, this is what I tell the referees. You've got
No balls. No balls. No balls. No balls. No balls.
seriously, no testicles, no cojones, no nuts, no huevos, whatever you want to call them. You know, whatever you want to call them. You don't got none of them.
And what makes it even worse is the fact that the game didn't start till 9:20, and the game didn't get over till almost midnight. Because remember, we left and we were like, man, let's order some Domino's. And I'm like, are they still going to be open because it's so late? Because it was midnight before we left the house from watching the game.
Oh, that game drug on forever, man. Like, I mean, if they had just let them halfway play, the shit would have been over probably by literally 11:20.
Yeah, easily.
These people, listen, all right, before I get ahead of myself, I want to explain something out there to all of our listeners, okay? There are certain sports events that take more time than others, okay? Like, let's just go ahead and call it what it is. A baseball game is just as long as a football game. A baseball game can go on longer than any of them, though, because they go to extra innings and the fucking game doesn't end until the game ends. You feel me? There ain't no tie in baseball. Somebody's going to win, someone's going to lose. If you got to play out 19 fucking innings to figure it out, guess what you're going to do? You're going to figure it out. Football, you got a long-ass overtime at some points. I mean, some games can be on TV for 4 hours. Basketball games do not go on that long. They are not meant to go on that long. That is why the game is different. It's much shorter. It's much quicker paced. It's more star, bound. Like, you need more star players to make it more interesting because really team basketball is a thing of the past. Everybody wants stars. But what I'm getting at is you don't have these 3-4 hour long games that are basketball games. Last night's game, the championship game, or the night before, not last night, but the night before, that game went on forever.
I was kind of hoping it would just be like over with. I wish someone would just go ahead and win this game already because I'm over it.
Yeah, seriously, because it was such a shittily played game. Like, it was just, there was no good defense except for North Carolina turning the ball over a bunch of times on Gonzaga. But other than that, really wasn't a whole lot of good defense. It was a whole lot of shit shots, people just not making, even when people were getting set and not having hands in their face. I mean, they literally passing the ball around. Guy's got his feet set. He's looking. He's already got the ball. He's going up to shoot. He's not even contested. The shit's not even going anywhere near the fucking net. There was one 3-pointer last night that got hit that we all said, ooh. Or not last night. I keep saying last night, but you know what I mean. There was one 3. You remember that one 3-pointer got hit? And we were like, damn, that was not but net. That was swish. That was it. There was no other beautiful 3-pointer the whole night. There was one. One. I can guarantee you everyone knows which one I'm talking about.
And you meant Gonzaga had turned over the ball to North Carolina, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I might have been going too fast.
Yeah, I know your mind was going a mile a minute right there. And I know when you get heated, you start going. Sometimes you mess up one time, So I wasn't sure if that's what you're talking about. Gonzaga had 14 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, they just kept turning the ball over. Like, North Carolina played good defense by turning over the ball, like getting them. Because Gonzaga couldn't seem to either hang on to it or they just kept literally letting North Carolina have easy ones.
How about that last pass, the last inbound pass, where they could have had a chance to get back into that game, and he throws it all the way, almost 3/4 of the way down the court, and the North Carolina guy just steps right in front of it, kind of
Thanks.
like a cornerback would in football, and just stepped right in front of it, intercepted it, and took it down, got fouled. They shot 2 more free throws, made them, and that was the game.
It was one of those moments where it's like, you've already admitted defeat in your head. Because why else would you have done that? Because you're right, it was a dumb call. It gave them the ball way too easy.
So, of course, in the end, North Carolina did win this game 71-65 to bring the school its 6th national championship and Roy Williams his 3rd national championship. North Carolina's Joel Berry II led the way with 22 points and 4 rebounds, while Justin Jackson added 16 points and 4 rebounds, and Isaiah Hicks had 13 points and 9 rebounds. Gonzaga was led by Noah William Ghost, 15 points and 9 rebounds, while Justin Perkins added 13 points, and Berserk Kaminsky added 9 points and 9 rebounds.
That's all Karnowski got.
Yeah, 9 points and 9 rebounds. That's it.
What about Williams Goss? He's supposed to be their star. How do you do?
William Goss he was the one that led the team with 15 points and 9 rebounds.
That was their leader.
That was their leader.
See, that's why Gonzaga couldn't get it going. And not only that, if I remember correctly, was he not hurt in the last 6 minutes of that game?
He was. He actually twisted his ankle right near the end. I think it was like about 2 minutes ago in the game. He twisted his ankle right on the baseline. And he didn't go out. I'll give him credit. But in the same sense, I think he hurt his team because what happened was he hurt his ankle. Then he tried to throw up 2 miracle threes and got one of them blocked. I mean,
is it safe to say that he did more damage to his team staying out there than hitting the bench and letting fresh legs go?
I mean, according to a lot of sports analysts, they say yes. I mean, I was listening to Quack and Kelly in the morning on WCCP, and they were talking about how they felt, Williams Ghost was a big issue because he twisted his ankle. Actually, no, it wasn't Quack and Kelly. It was actually Ramona and Deptula. I'm sorry. It was Ramona and Deptula, and they were talking about it, and Deptula said, I feel like William Ghost, after he twisted his ankle and then made them 2 horrible shots,
he should have sat down.
He should have sat down. He should not have been playing.
See, that's what I'm thinking. Like, let me ask you this. You think Mark Few wants that one back?
Oh, he definitely wants it back.
I mean, because you had a chance. You weren't out of it yet, but it's almost like you were so stubborn, and you're like, I'm leaving him in because he's my star player. He's my unicorn. And it's like, dude, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, man. You got to sit him down because I'm going to go ahead and posit this scenario, man. Why would you want somebody in there who's injured where the other team's like, oh, blood in the water, and they're going to let him take shots? Okay, all we got to do is contest it. He's not going to be able to pull up quick. He's not going to be able to charge down the damn court. Even when he sets up to shoot, his ankle's going to hurt, so it's going to obviously throw off his rhythm because he's in pain.
Especially when he's trying to push off that foot to make that jumper.
Yeah, like you can't make jumpers when you have a twist. I mean, you're insane. You can't even, a fucking free throw is hard enough when you got a busted ankle and you're standing still. That's what I mean. Like, I feel like he tried to put his team on his back and will himself over that ankle injury, and some players can do that. Some players can fight through pain and do it and deliver, but he not trying to be a dick to him, but you're obviously not one of them cats because you tried, and it actually cost you, in my opinion. I think you sent somebody else in there with fresher legs. You might still have lost, but it would have been heavily contested to where North Carolina had to pull up and Villanova, Gonzaga, and get back like, we just buzzer beat you, walk off the court. Now we know what it's like. Other end of this, we're on the opposite end of this one, but you never know. Hey.
I mean, now he has a whole offseason to think about that.
I mean, personally, I think Mark Few's a great coach. He's
a wonderful coach.
Gonzaga's gotten much better every year he's been there.
I mean, we went over his stats last week, and I mean, his stats are absolutely amazing. He's done a superior job at Gonzaga and has nothing to hang his head about. But in the same sense, you have to play that what-if game. What if he sat him and let another player, a fresh player, come in that, you never know on your bench. You have that one player that might come in and boom, he catches fire and hits a 3.
Yeah, what if he's so jacked he hits a 3 without even thinking about it, and all of a sudden you done fucked around and tied the game?
Exactly.
And then that kid's jacked on nerves, and he's like, yo, feed me the rock, coach, I'm going to get it again. All right, we'll feed the motherfucker the ball then. Like, give him the ball.
Keep giving the ball until he starts missing.
Until he misses, keep giving it to him. That's right, dish it out to him until he misses.
So North Carolina's Roy Williams commented on winning his 3rd national championship. I think of Coach Smith. There's no question. I don't think I should be mentioned in the same sentence with him, but we got 3 because I've got these guys with me, and that's all I care about right now, my guys.
Oh, God. Yeah, this is a very cheese dick moment.
When I actually wrote that quote down, I kind of threw up in my mouth a little bit, no lie.
The way I feel about this is Roy Williams is an asshole. He really isn't that great of a coach. And I know everyone's like, what are you talking about? Here's what I'm talking about. He's the head coach at North Carolina, okay? A fucking monkey could go out there in that ugly ass blue and black checkered shit that he was wearing on championship night and coach them to a victory. Hell, the fucking chimpanzee can just roll the fucking ball out there and they can get right after it because North Carolina recruits talent so well, they don't really need a fucking coach, to be quite honest with you. Hell, you could even rename the stupid fucking monkey Dean Smith, and you could have a Dean Smith too, so you don't have to dig him up out of the grave to fucking do the job. So all I'm saying is this. I'm going to be there to shit on your nice little shining moment because fuck you, North Carolina. Fuck your coach. Fuck your history. Fuck the bullshit ACC, how they let you get away with everything. The only fucking team that gets away with more shit than you is your fucking rival. All you motherfucking assholes on I-85 up there through Durham, Chapel Hill, fuck all of you. The whole fucking world hates you motherfuckers. You're not liked. I'm tired of y'all motherfuckers going around like you're the fucking cool guy at the party that everyone likes. You're fucking not. Everyone's smoking up your weed and drinking your beer because you're a fucking douche and they hate you, not because they're your homeboy. Suck on that, you fucking faggots.
Wow. Wow, badass. That was a rant right there. I love it. I hope you saved a little bit because I have another Roy Williams story coming up.
Oh, don't you worry. That's fucking. We barely even hit the gas pedal.
Was that just the appetizer to the main course?
We barely hit the gas pedal.
So I was going to ask you, how do you really feel about North Carolina?
No, that was just 15 miles an hour. Just wait till we go 0 to 100.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
So that's it. The NCAA basketball season's officially over. It's done. One shining moment. And it's all over till next year.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? It was a great tournament. All levity, all jokes, all rants and shit aside, it was an actual great tournament. I had a lot of fun with it. My teams got bounced way early. So I could just rip the bracket and enjoy the fucking game. Because y'all already know, when you got money on the games, you're not enjoying them. Well, you are. But you're on the edge of your seat going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God. When you're out of it, boom, you can actually sit there and, nothing's riding on this. I can just enjoy it.
Exactly. I know that feeling because I've had it where, I've had something where I bet on something, like through Bodog. I went on Bodog and did some betting. The whole time I'm just saying to myself, all right, well, I need them to win by this many points, and then I need this team to win by this many points. But oh shit, right now they're down by 8 points. All right, I might be fucked in that game. I mean, it's nerve-wracking.
It is.
Even with fantasy football and baseball and all that, it's nerve-wracking. It's hard to watch NFL football on Sunday when I have two teams playing. Two sets of guys playing in different games throughout the whole league in one day. And I'm like, okay, well, how many points did this person score? Oh, shit, this person on the bench scored this many points. I should have put him in. I fucked up there. It's nerve-wracking. So, I mean, when you don't have that, which... I'm thinking this year I might not do fantasy football this year. I might take a year off.
You should. You should actually enjoy football. That's like this year. I'm not gambling on college football at all. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to gamble on all the NFL football. I'm not going to watch it because here's my logic. You know how I don't care about NFL no more, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to listen to it. All I'm going to do is watch betting patterns. I'm going to listen to fucking people that know what they're talking about in Vegas. I'm going to listen to some breakdowns. I'm going to consort with some Fat Tony types, and I'm just going to go ahead and bet on pro football. Just go ahead and leave it at that because I don't want to watch it. And then that way I can just place a bet, don't even give a fuck. If it wins, it wins. If it don't, it don't. I can still just sit there and enjoy my college ball.
I like that theory. I really do.
It's a good one.
It's a good theory.
It is.
Because, we will be doing our picks on here for college football. With the odds, where we will come back, we will be doing that again this year.
Oh, yeah, obviously, yes.
But, you're probably right. NFL is probably easier thing to bet on than college football.
Well, we know the NFL's rigged.
Yeah.
You know that shit's rigged to some degree. And not only that, you also know that you can actually better gauge a winner. Because let's be real, motherfuckers. If Cleveland's playing someone... Who you going to bet against?
Especially like New England versus Cleveland. New England is giving 28 points. Well, I'm taking that because New England's probably going to put up 42 against them, and Cleveland's probably not going to score against their defense.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a certain games everyone's like, oh, that's a huge spread. Shut the fuck up. No, it's not. Not anymore.
So, that's it. Basketball season's over till next year. And, you know, it's going to be interesting because, you know, there's going to be a lot of teams next year. You know, it'll be interesting to see who comes back, who doesn't come back next year. You know, how the teams, you know, fill out. You know, the guy from the bench, you know, being next man up, you know, per se. Being the next guy in line, steps up, starts doing the job. You know, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be up there in the top 10 next year.
All right, that's true.
So, speaking of North Carolina's Roy Williams, during many of his interviews after winning the national championship, one reporter, and of course it had to be one reporter, you know, he had to ask that one question. So you're like, really, dude? You're really going to bring politics into football?
Not football, basketball.
Or basketball, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, but no, but there's always some dickhead that has to do it.
There's always that one person in the crowd that ruins it for everybody else.
There's always an asshole that has to just shit in the pie. It's true.
So one reporter asked him if he was going to take the team to the White House to visit President Trump. This is kind of a custom thing that we've seen throughout the years. I mean, when I grew up, that's what national championship teams did. That's what NFL championship teams. It's tradition. You go to the White House, you meet the president, you shake his hand, he honors you, you give him a jersey or something like that.
It doesn't matter if you like him or not. It doesn't matter if you agree with him or not. It doesn't matter if you voted for him or not. It's a ceremony because you won a national championship and you go meet the fucking president. This has been going on for fuck ever now. This isn't something new. Like, you already know this is what you're going to do.
And this is really going to infuriate you when I tell you this next comment.
You might as well just leap right on in it.
So Roy Williams commented, and his whole comment was cheek the, whatever was that saying, that cheek the face or cheek,
tongue in cheek?
Tongue in cheek, yeah. It was all tongue in cheek because, I mean, you just listen to it and you're just like, what bullshit.
Might as well just go ahead and quote him.
You know, the office of presidency of the United States is the most fantastic place you can be. But let me think on it. Again, I don't know that we are going to be invited. I really don't know. But I do know one thing. We're putting up a nice banner in the Smith Center that is hard to get. As we all know, Williams was very critical of Trump during the social media habits he made during the ACC tournament in New York. He commented, now everybody has got a social media. You know, our president tweets out more bullshit than anybody I've seen.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Like, he can't help himself.
He has to be that liberal dick.
He just can't help himself.
And I just don't know how he's made it so long here in North Carolina, you know, being south of the Mason-Dixon.
No. You have a very, 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 very bad misconception of some places in the South. You are living in the real South where working men have to actually go earn shit, you know, and actually pay taxes and struggle and decide that sometimes you want to eat more than you want to pay a gas bill. But people like Roy Williams, who live up there in Chapel Hill, in that little bastion of liberal shit, who doesn't know what it's like to live outside of their little ivory fucking tower where they're all rich, they all have money, they all have everyone catering to them all the time. We're talking about a spoiled bourgeois 70-year-old fucking asshole named Roy Williams here, who, fuck you, don't know what it's like to be a common person because your fucking ass is too goddamn stuck up to know what it's like to be a real person. You don't eat the places I eat, you don't shop where I shop, and you look down on people like me because of how I think shit should be going. Well, excuse the fuck out of me, you piss poor excuse for a fucking man. Roy Williams, fuck you. And you know what you can do?
Watch out, little bitch. Watch out, little bitch. Watch out, little bitch. Watch out, little bitch.
Yeah, you can watch the fuck out and you can shut your fucking mouth when you're talking bullshit to the fucking president. Because I believe that when you won your first one, you wanted to act like a dickhead and you didn't want to go meet Bush. Then you got your second one, you couldn't wait to line up to suck Obama's dick dry. And then the third one, you don't want to go meet Trump because you don't like him. Well, fuck you, you liberal asshole. We don't like you either. But you know what? We coexist with you assholes. When we win something, we didn't want to go meet your fucking asshole Obama either. But you know what? We shut our mouths. We went up there. We met the president. We shook his fucking hand and we respected the goddamn office of the presidency. Something you fucking liberal fucking little bitches don't know a goddamn thing about because when you got the power, it's all good. When we got the power, you fucking scream, kick, whine, bitch, moan, cuss, complain, and we have to sherpa you up the fucking mountains like adults always have to do with you fucking little children. I'm sick of your bullshit. Stop acting like fucking kids. Grow the fuck up. In the words of your own fucking guy, elections have consequences. We won, you lost. Get the fuck over it.
I mean, at this point, this is now the second time we've seen this happen.
I know, and this is what I'm saying, like, this shit's getting out of control. And you only see this shit happening when liberals want to do it. Like, they are like petulant fucking brats.
I mean, look at the first one, it was New England. Liberal.
That's what I mean. Like, you just, just who cares? You know what? If you don't like him, that's cool. You don't got to vote for him. You don't got to send him money. You don't have to support his policies. You can vote against him. You can put people in office to vote against him. You can do all that. But guess what? This isn't a political setting. You won a championship. You go to meet the president. Shut your fucking mouths and have some fucking dignity and some class. I thought that's what you liberal dickheads in Chapel Hill were all about. Oh, we have class. We're better than everyone. We have class. We're bourgeois. We go to college. We have degrees. Fuck all of you.
Oh, man, I love your rants. They're so great.
I'm so over it, man. I mean, I'm getting mad.
I see that. Your face is red as a strawberry.
Because they don't have to act like there's no point.
I know.
They are acting like the very fucking asshole hicks they claim us to be.
I know what you're saying, bro. I know what you're saying. To me, it's like, I bet you any money if Dabo takes Clemson to the White House for their championship, winning the championship this year, I guarantee every player is going to be there with Dabo shaking the president's hand
and not showing their ass
and not being an asshole and saying, "Oh, well, I don't agree with his views, so I'm going to take a stand." Same thing with the fucking kneeling with the fucking national anthem. I'm just that's where it all started. Fucking dumbass fucking crapper dick. That you fucking worthless piece of shit. You're another one who can get on that plane with all the Kardashians, Kanye West, and all them other motherfuckers. Miley Cyrus. See, now you got me going.
Right into the side of the mountain.
Right in the side of the fucking
400
mountain.
miles an hour.
Oh, Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
She's flying that bitch right in the fucking mountain.
And all these people you just named got all this money, and they don't know what it's like to be us.
It doesn't. They don't know. They're like, oh, well, I used to live that life, and I know what it's like. Yeah, well, guess what? Then you became rich. You became stuck up. You flaunt your money at us at every chance you get. And, it just gets to the point where you're like, I kind of want the purge to happen. So I can go up there and kill some of these celebrities and take their money.
Oh, reel that one back in. They might have somebody knocking at your door. Remember, they're rich and got money. They can have us arrested.
Man,
Other way around, we can't.
Man, fuck them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it just... And you know what? For all y'all out there like, oh, I wish you wouldn't get political. We didn't fucking do it first, now did we? Fuck you.
We didn't start it. We finished it.
Right. See, we're conservatives. We don't start shit. We end shit. You little fucking children always fucking make us messes, and then, like goddamn adults, we got to come behind it and clean up the mess, and then spank you on the fucking ass and tell you no.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, this is... But like I was saying, it started with Crapper Dick. Thank you, you fucking worthless piece of shit. You did the whole kneeling thing because you wanted to protest, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, players started doing it. Then high school students, athletes started doing it. And then college students started doing it. And then you guys went the the traveling baseball teams, basketball teams, they started wanting to do it. I mean, you just got to the point where it was like chain reaction. Now all of a sudden, now the new trend is, oh, well, if we win a national championship, we can elect whether we want to go see the president or not because I don't agree with their views, and I'm a snowflake, and I get what I want because I'm me, and I am who I am because I am who I am. Ugh, fucking headache, dude.
It's the most me monster shit ever, isn't it?
It is, and it gets to the point where it's so relentless. You're just like, shut the fuck up. Like that video we were watching the other night. I mean, you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? The woman, she's like, I don't have to work, and I don't want to work if I don't have to. Are you fucking kidding me? And you're a fucking waste of society.
Yeah, for real.
Somebody might as well just go ahead and put a bullet in your head and just end it now. See, man, I'm telling you, see what happens when you go on tangents, you get me going on tangents.
Well, here's what we're going to do then, because we're going to dial it back into sports, and we're going to steer the boat away from the fork in the river where we can keep going down the path and getting mad, or we can take the left here and we can go back to Happyville. Because you know what? I believe I've spent enough anger and hate on these little shits, and we don't need to let them get the better of the whole show. We've given them their time. We've given them their 15 minutes. Now we'll go put them back in the corner and tell them be a good little bitch.
Yeah, exactly. My point exactly. So
you know what we tell them?
Watch out, little bitch.
That's right. Go sit in the corner.
so let's go ahead and move on to something more positive. The Westgate Superbook out of Las Vegas has already come out with next year's odds-on favorite to win the national championship next year. And the top three are Duke, Kentucky, and Louisville, all at 10-1 favorites to win it all next year.
I can see that. I mean, the way I look at it is they're very good teams. All three of them are top teams. All three of them play in a really good conference. In fact, one of the best. Might not be the best, but it's up for argument, it's up for debate. They all have 3 legendary coaches, so they actually got a guy that can get you there and knows what he's doing. So, I mean, I'd be putting my stock in that too. It's actually a pretty good list.
So then next on the list is national champion North Carolina and runner-up Gonzaga at 12-1 odds.
See, I don't believe either of those teams are going to be making it back to the big dance. I'll go ahead and take wagers on that if anybody wants.
You think they're going to lose a lot of players?
Oh, hell yeah. Not only going to lose a lot of players, North Carolina did the unthinkable by getting back this year. They're not going to do it 3 in a row. It's just not going to happen.
And then you also had last year's favorites, Kansas and Villanova, that are also 12-1 favorites, which I do see that too.
Yeah, I could see Kansas and Villanova being in it, because you got to remember, once Kansas gets past the Elite Eight, they're pretty unstoppable. It's that Elite Eight they have an issue getting past.
And then my unicorn team this year rounds out the top 8 at 15-1 odds, and that's Arizona.
See, Arizona burned me. I can't go with them no more. They done burned me too good.
Also, just kind of a side note here, this is pretty interesting. Indiana's new coach, Archie Miller, has Indiana sitting at 20-1 with Michigan, Florida, Wichita State, while powerhouse UCLA are at 25-1, and Final Four teams, Oregon is 60-1, and South Carolina, we were talking about before, they're 100-1 to get back.
Oh, they'll not get back. South Carolina, I'm not trying to disparage you or talk shit down to y'all. It's just not that way. I'm speaking fact. You're going to lose too much. You're not going to have enough. You can go shock the world. I'm not going to say you can't, because Lord knows you can, but I wouldn't bet on it.
I mean, looking at that list, it's like a who's who of quality teams. I mean, you have Duke, Louisville, Kentucky, North Carolina, Gonzaga, Villanova, Kansas, Arizona, Michigan, UCLA, Wichita State. I mean, they're now a part of the talk right now.
This is one of those laugh now because you think I'm a crackhead moments and cry later when you're like the crackhead might have been right. Who's got Georgetown going to the Sweet 16 next year? I do.
I do.
Think I'm crazy?
You know why?
Think I'm crazy?
That actually goes on with our next story.
That's right. Think I'm crazy? That's right.
I'm telling you, see, there's a method to all your mayhem, right?
Uh-huh. That's true.
By the way, that was a nice lead-in.
I know, wasn't it?
That was.
It was.
Georgetown actually is like 1,000,000-1 odds.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, the champ is here. He really is.
Georgetown Hoyas basketball team announced a successor to John Thompson III, and they're going old school, going with legendary player and former alumni Patrick Ewing as a new head coach. You don't know how excited I am about this. I am now, I've always been a Hoya fan, but the last couple of years have been hard to watch them because they played so shitty. But having Ewing come in is just it's like when Harbaugh came in.
Oh, it's fresh.
For the 49ers. You're just like, this guy's going to do great things. I feel it in my bones. He's going to come in and bring this team back to where they before.
It's like you just stuck a fork in an electrical outlet and you're just like, you're high from all that electricity because you just know. You know this is going to be a good idea. It's like the first time somebody put peanut butter and chocolate together, and there were some people over there in the corner going, I don't think this is a good idea. And the one guy that did it was like, this is going to be a fucking excellent idea, you idiots. And it was.
Yes. Thank you, Reese.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Reese's. We do appreciate it.
But I mean, getting a high quality, former player, not only in college basketball, but in the NBA, getting somebody high quality like that to come back to your school and be the head coach of your basketball program, I mean, that's pretty big. I mean, I know all the Georgetown alumni, all the Georgetown Hoya fans, they're excited about this pick.
Oh, there's not a damn one of them that are like, oh, it's just Pat. They're like, oh my God, yes. Like, this is what we've needed for a long time. Look, I guarantee you this was being thought of last year. And somebody probably went to Pat and said, look, can you come back? Would you come back? And he said, you know what? Let me think about it. And then they went and asked him again, and he said, yeah, I would. And boom, they're like, okay. We're going to let JT3 finish out. He's royalty here. He's going to finish out his career. And as soon, bang, bye. We've got the guy coming right. Didn't take him long, did it?
What was it, like a couple days? Because we did, last Wednesday, we did a thing about John Thompson being fired. And then sure enough, not even a week after that, they hired Patrick Ewing. So, I mean, that tells me right there, writing was on the wall.
Oh, hell yeah.
JT3 was out, and they already had their guy coming in. They already knew that Ewing was their guy, and they were just waiting to finish the season out and then bring him in. Do it properly.
Yeah, they didn't want to be dicks about it. And that's a good thing, because you don't want to be ignorant to someone who's been glorious for you and somebody who's got family ties. Like, you never want to send them out horrible. You want to do the right thing. And they even probably went to John and said, look, can we get you to resign, or we're gonna have to fire you? And he might have been like, you know what? I'm not resigning. I'm just not. You're gonna have to fire me. You never know, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes guys are so proud, they're not gonna quit. You're gonna have to fire them. You got to make them leave.
Or it might went like this, where they came up to him and said, look, beginning of the season, you need to turn around this year, or we're going to have to start looking elsewhere. And, of course, they had the season they had, and they had to do what they had to do. So, I mean, he might have had a fair warning of, you get one more chance, this is your last chance to show us what you got. Or they might have just told him, look, we're going to let you finish this year out. Ewing, wants to finish his commitment in Charlotte with the NBA team. Finish commitment there, and in a year's time, he wants to come in as head coach, and we're going to let you go. So, I mean, there's a couple different possible scenarios there.
I could see it being the second one. I could.
You do?
I could. I really could.
So, Patrick Ewing played for Georgetown from 1982 to 1985 under the former coach's dad, the great John Thompson, where they went to 3 NCAA national championship games and won one in 1984. He finished second points scored, first in rebounds, and first in blocks all time in Georgetown history.
Pretty impressive.
It is. I mean, if you want a guy to come back, that's the guy you want to come back to coach the team.
Yeah, because he's nothing but class too. Like he's your guy.
Ewing continued to the NBA, where he played 17 years, in which 15 were spent as a New York Knick. He also has 2 Olympic medals. Ewing commented, "My 4 years at Georgetown were the best of my life. Georgetown is my home. It is a great honor for me to return to my alma mater and serve to be the next head coach." Georgetown Athletic Director Lee Reed weighed in. To hire a head coach with this depth of coaching experience and personal achievement is tremendous. And then Miami Heat's president, Pat Riley, who coached Ewing when he played for the New York Knicks, had nothing but nice things to say about him. Of all the players that have gone from superstardom to putting their dues in to becoming a head coach, Patrick deserves this, probably more than any other player ever. Georgetown finished his last season 14-18 overall and 5-13 in Big East. I mean, that's just not Georgetown basketball right there.
No, that's like I said, there's just nobody that you can find to say something bad about this man. Like he is the guy. Like he is the man. Like they definitely slam dunked this one. I mean, no, they slam dunked it. They broke the damn glass black. The backboard, it's shattered. It was that heavy.
But, now looking to the future, next year, I mean, it's going to be really, really interesting to sit there and watch Georgetown and see what they do next year.
I'm telling you, everyone thinks I'm crazy. Georgetown to the Sweet 16 just because Pat Ewing's there, just because. He will fire them up. He will have them playing just because. And if it ain't this year, it's definitely happening next year. Georgetown's on the way back.
See, I was going to say next year just for the simple fact that, I don't know, I think it's going to take them a year getting into that program and getting some recruits in there and getting some of the JT3 recruits out and bringing some of his own recruits in and having his guys, as Roy Williams would say.
Exactly.
He's going to have his guys and getting his guys in there and playing his type of ball that he wants them to play is where it needs to be, because you're going to have these guys that were JT3 guys that, yes, they respect Patrick Ewing, but in the same sense,
they're not his guys.
They're not his guys. And some of them could, be kind of against what Patrick Ewing's coming to do. Why they would do that, I don't know, because he's a legend. You don't piss on a legend.
No, I mean, he's got championship rings waving them in your face. You do whatever the fuck he tells you to do.
I mean, that's impressive. 3 national championships in 4 years of playing.
It's called dominating as a player. He did well.
I'm sorry, 4. Yeah, they went to 3 national championship games.
And they got one of them.
And they got one of them. So 1 out of 3, 33%, not too bad.
No, especially when you're highly competitive year in, year out.
So, I'm really, really excited about seeing, Patrick Ewing come in. Yes, I am sad. I've been talking to you a couple times this week, and I was saying how I was sad about them firing JT3. We were having dinner, about a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
And your dad, I was like, man, I'm kind of upset that they fired JT3. And he's like, why?
Exactly. He's like, you shouldn't be.
He's like, you shouldn't be. I'm like, why? He's like, I was like, he's royalty. I was like, he's the son of the great John Thompson. You expected so much. And he didn't have a bad coaching career there. I mean, it wasn't great.
These last couple of years have just been insanely unkind.
Yeah, they've just been really, really just unkind to JT3. And I mean, I feel bad for him because, he is going to find another job.
Yeah.
Maybe not this year, maybe next year.
But if he wants one, he's got one.
But if he wants one, he's going to get one because he didn't do that bad to the point where he'd never coach again.
Maybe he just got sick and tired of Georgetown.
Maybe he just, after a while, stuff goes stale. You work at a job and it gets to the point where you're like, this is okay, but I really don't want to be here anymore. I want to do something new, something different.
Like, I don't even care if I got to be the new guy.
Yeah, so, it might have been part of that, too. He was there for 13 years, so, that's a long time. And especially being the last couple years were absolutely horrible and horrendous. You just got to look at the point where you're like, all right, I need to do something different. And who's to say he might go up into the booth next year.
See, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking they're going to move him to the booth.
He goes to the booth maybe for 1 or 2 years, and then maybe, when a high-quality job comes open, maybe look at that.
I don't know. Guys that go to the booth don't never seem to come out of it. It's too easy. It's easy money.
Do you think JT3 would be better off in the booth than go back to coaching?
Yeah, I think so. That's my own opinion.
So, we'll have to definitely keep an eye out next year for Georgetown. Of course, you heard from Badass here first. He said, Georgetown to the Sweet 16 next year, so you heard it first.
That's right, you did, and I stand by it.
So I'm going to go ahead and move on to another huge story in college basketball, and this time it's actually in the women's side.
Oh, is this the, you're talking about the women that won the championship.
Yeah.
Yes.
But before that, the big news that happened before that.
Oh, yes, the defeat.
Yes, that's right. UConn's women's basketball team winning streak has come to an end at an impressive 111 games in a row. 111 games, dude. That's insane. Wait till I give you this stat later on. They break it down a little bit. It's insane on how many days they went undefeated.
I know. No, it is insane.
So they lost to Mississippi State in the Final Four on an overtime buzzer beater that was absolutely insane to win it 66-64. And I actually saw the video. I played the video. And, it's one of those things you watch it and it's a little heartbreaking because you're thinking, man, UConn lost to a buzzer beater, but then you're also like, you feel kind of that satisfaction that you're like, all right, well, it's over now. Finally, somebody beat UConn. You know, the team that was unbeatable finally got beat.
Well, see, honestly, I'm going to go ahead and steal a little bit of thunder from Mississippi State here. I don't think you so much as beat them as they beat themselves. Yeah, I'll be a dick. I'll go ahead and minimize your achievements. I will. But the way I'm looking at it is this. UConn played their shittiest game ever last night. Or not the other night. I keep saying last night. I'm all pumped up. But the other night when they played those games to determine who was going to the championship game in women's basketball, they literally played the shittiest game they've ever played. And you still had to beat them on a buzzer beater. So I just really want it to sink in that y'all were lucky. You weren't that good. You were just lucky because they played that shitty. Just so we clear the fucking air on that.
I mean, you look at it, UConn, that has won 111 games, was held to 64 points. I mean, that's unheard of for UConn. Usually UConn's in like the 70s, 80s, 90s maybe. You know, every now and then maybe 100. You know, they're playing a real shitty team. But for them to only score 64 points, they must have been having a bad night.
That's what I mean. It's bound to happen. There are some days where shit's just not going to go your way.
So with time running out in overtime and the game tied, Mississippi State's Morgan Williams hit a jumper that will go down in history. She commented, "I live for this moment like this. UConn, they're an incredible team. For me to make a shot against them, it's unbelievable." UConn's head coach, who in the video you can actually see him after the shot's made, and he's walking over to shake the other, Mississippi State's coach's hand. He kind of has a little bit of a smile on his face. It's like almost like a relief of, well, it's finally over.
Someone finally beat the girls, exactly.
So, Gina Ariema.
Gina Ariema.
See, I'm gonna get there.
Ah.
It's been a long show already. Yeah. And we're only 5 stories into this.
Y'all are going to have to excuse Burger, all right? Burger is not good with names, but he is learning, so y'all got to give him a minute.
Well, he commented after their heartbreaking loss, "You know what? When stuff like this happens, it kind of makes me shake my head and go, how many times this could have happened and it didn't happen? The fact that it never happened, that doesn't mean I went home thinking it's just never going to happen. I knew this was coming at some point. I'm just shocked it took that long."
Pretty much saying, well, it's about time somebody finally did it. That's all you hear when he says it.
I mean, if UConn wins that game, do they win another national championship again?
No, hell yeah. If they beat Mississippi State and they see South Carolina in the game, South Carolina probably plays them a good game, but they probably lose 10 out of 10 times. It was just their night to lose. Fate and destiny finally just said, all right, we're pulling the string on you. You've had enough. You're finally done.
Gamecocks' Asia Wilson led the way with 23 points and 10 rebounds, while Alicia Gray had 18 points and 10 rebounds. South Carolina's head coach Dawn Stanley, who made it to the Final Four 3 times as a player for Virginia and took the Gamecocks to a Final Four 2 years ago, is going to savor her first national championship. It means that I can check off one of these things that has been avoided in my career. Something I wanted to do. It was one of the 2 opportunities that I saw women play when I was younger. National championship and Olympics. Those were things I held dearly and near to me growing up. Those were the things I saw and were shooting for.
That's what I mean. They won a championship. They did really well. And you know what? The second that buzzer beater happened and it sunk in that Connecticut had just lost, I bet you they knew they were going to win that championship game. They went from knowing they were going to likely lose it to knowing they were definitely going to win it because they knew Mississippi State was no match for them as a team.
Yep. So Gamecocks ended up beating Mississippi State in the championship game 67-55. And I mean, it was no contest. I mean, I think Mississippi spent all their energy against UConn and just had nothing for South Carolina.
Well, actually, the controversial thing is that the girl that made that buzzer beater shot against Connecticut, the coach took her out of the championship game for the whole fourth quarter.
For what?
No, they just took her out of the game.
Wow, that's crazy.
She's stupid, I know, right?
Why would you take your star player to just hit a game buzzer or beater out in the national championship game?
Against Connecticut, of all people. That's what I'm saying. I guarantee you he's been asked that about 6,000 times already. Or he, she, whoever the fuck they are.
So, South Carolina wins their first national championship. Congratulations to the Gamecocks. You know, they played one hell of a season, and, you know, they're just lucky they didn't play UConn. Let's just put it that way, because UConn would have whooped that ass.
Let's be real about this. You have a national championship because UConn got upset. That's really what it comes down to. I do actually give them credit. Both basketball programs at South Carolina made it to the Final Four this year. One of them won the championship. The other one damn near dead. So kudos to their programs are sitting pretty good.
You know, and it's just one of those things that you have to think, like you were saying a couple weeks ago, Clemson now has to beef up their basketball program, both men and women.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Because you can't let the Gamecocks, a.k.a. the Shamecocks, beat you in basketball.
As long as we keep winning in football, I don't care.
So let's go ahead and move on to some MMA news. This past Friday night was Bellator 175. We talked about it on the last show. And, you know, it's Quentin Rampage Jackson versus Muhammad King Mo Lawal Part 2. And King Mo got his redemption, defeating Jackson by unanimous decision 29-28 across the board. I mean, it looked like, apparently from what I understand, I didn't see the fight because I was doing a lot of stuff on Friday night, so I wasn't able to watch the fight. But from what I understand and reading some of the articles, it sounds like Jackson was just overweight, and just by the third round he was gassed.
Overweight and out of shape, man. Listen, we called it last week. We sat right here and told you last week at this time almost that if Rampage Jackson goes into camp and into that fight overweight and out of shape and doesn't get into shape, that it's not even going to be a close fight. And what happened? He showed up out of shape, overweight, didn't do hardly shit in camp, and he went out there and got his ass whooped.
So King Mo controlled the first round, using his wrestling skills to neutralize Jackson. But Jackson came out in the second round and landed some big shots to even it up at 1 round apiece. In the third round, Jackson showed how overweight and out of shape he was, as King Mo again controlled the round with both stand-up and ground game. King Mo commented after his win, "In the second round, I got hit a few times. I got cross-eyed. He came to fight. I had a game plan, and he was great." So, I mean, you gotta give him a little bit of credit, even after all the shit talking. Give him a little bit of credit and said, look, if he wasn't out of shape and overweight and, you know, just struggling to make it through 3 rounds of, you know, MMA, this might have been a different fight.
I'm not going to take away from Rampage that he is able to still hit someone hard enough to knock them out, because I know he is. The man is a beast. Listen, any normal cat on the street walks up to him and he hits them, they're going to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to sleep.
Like the Rodriguez go to sleep?
Go to sleep, right. They're going to sleep. And that's what I mean. Like, he can knock out any normal Joe, but, you know, when you go talking shit to a trained fighter that already don't like you, you know, you got to have wind. Now, I guarantee you this. If you take a younger Rampage Jackson back when he actually went to camp and did all the work and actually got his wind up, oh, he'd have fucked King Mo up. But that's not who he is anymore.
And what's really interesting about this thing is, I read this in one of the articles while doing research. This was actually Rampage Jackson's last fight on his contract with Bellator.
Oh, yeah, you can guarantee you they're not going to pay him anymore.
And what's interesting is he's actually still under contract with UFC.
You really think Dana White wants him for a fight? He probably wants him for one last fight, and that's when he's fat and out of shape, and he's going to fight somebody else who's fat and out of shape, and they're going to just have a fat and out of shape fight.
So we're basically going to have a Dada 2000 versus
Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo Slice Part 2.
Right, and I hope not, but yeah, probably so, actually, yeah.
And that's going to be just ugly. I mean, who really wants to see Rampage come back and fight again? I mean, just go ahead and retire. Go be a movie star. Go lift weights. Go do whatever you want to do.
We'll see Rampage versus Wanderlei Silva one more time. That's probably the fight that they're both going to be under contract for one more.
I can see that.
They're going to bring back them. It's going to be the Geritol edition.
So, in the co-headliner, we had Emmanuel Sanchez getting a unanimous decision over former featherweight champion Marcos Galvo. 30-27 across the board. Sanchez has won 2 straight fights and 5 of the last 6. Also, Sergey, here we go, Karnatov got the knockout win in 3 minutes and 55 seconds of the first round over Chase Gormley. Noad Lahat improved to 2-0 with a second-round rear naked choke submission over Lloyd Carter, and Steve Koza got a quick victory in his Bellator debut as he knocked out Jake Roberts in 20 seconds in the first round.
Damn, knocked him out quick.
These boys came out, apparently from what I was reading in the fight, these boys came out and just started swinging.
Throwing
and
bombs.
didn't stop. It looked like a World Star fight.
Oh, so they really don't like each other. They just went out there and started throwing bombs to see who was going to drop.
Yeah, all you needed was like the World Star banner and somebody yelling World Star in it, and there would have been a World Star fight, because that's what it was. These guys just came out and just beat the living fuck out of each other and didn't care. They were like, I'm going to keep hitting this guy until either one of us gets knocked out. And of course, unfortunately, it happened for Jake Roberts.
That's exactly what happened to him.
So, that was Bellator this past weekend. And, again, the only real big fight of that whole thing was the Jackson Big Mo fight.
Right, and I mean, that's only interesting because you know who the two fighters are, but as far as an actual fight goes, I'd give it maybe a 6. It was
But that's what Bellator gives you, unfortunately. You get,
if you even get the damn fight.
you get maybe 6, maybe, you have somebody pull out of a really good fight like what happened last time. Then you gotta give it a 4 or 5 because it's just not a real good fight.
Or the fighters are just over the hill, or no one cares about them. Like if they don't, the reason they're not in UFC anymore is because they're not drawing people. I mean, Bellator is trying their damnedest to catch up, but I just don't think they're ever going to. They're always going to be that little bastard stepchild.
They're kind of like that car stuck in the mud and they're just spinning wheels. They're not going anywhere.
Correct.
So, this Saturday, UFC 210 will be at the Kelly Bank Center in Buffalo, New York for the Daniel Cormier versus Anthony Johnson Part 2. That's going to be a good fight.
Those two are going to beat the hell out of each other again.
That's going to be another one where they just come in and they just start throwing punches until one gets knocked out.
See, and that's what I like about UFC, because ultimately they're going to put out the better product. You always see better knockouts, you see better submissions, the better fighters, it's better product, it's better referees, it's just all around better. This is exactly why UFC is going to remain at the top of this MMA ladder for years and years to come, because you always get what you want eventually in UFC. There's never been a time where you sat and watched 3 UFC pay-per-views and didn't see somebody get the fuck beat out of them, someone get knocked the fuck out, something go the distance, someone get tapped. I mean, you always see the good shit in UFC. You don't ever see that shit anywhere else.
Cormier defeated Johnson at UFC 187 with a choke in the 3rd round to win the light heavyweight title, which was vacant after Jones got suspended for having illegal substances in his system.
I remember that because that was supposed to be a damn good fight.
He's another waste of space. Old John Bones Jones.
You know, I used to like him. I used to love watching that man's fights. I did. But he's just gotten to where his talent has been overridden by his ego and bullshit. It really has.
And, it is one of those things that you kind of now have that image of, well, I've now, failed 2 drug tests. I look bad.
I can't be trusted.
I can't be trusted, and I'll be damned. I don't know. Maybe they would take him. I don't know. because of his name, you think Bellator would take him
hell,
in?
dude, Bellator would fucking be lining up to get him. Are you kidding me? Hell yeah.
I mean, that's where I think he would go if he can't go back to the UFC. If it gets to the point where Dana White says, fuck no, you fucked me one too many times, I'm done dealing with your shit. You're released. You're no longer a part of the UFC.
You've done fucked 2 fights, 2 contracts. Like, I can't trust a word you say. I can't trust that you're clean. You know, in fact, that's likely how you won all your original fights the first time. It's not just because you were already bigger, stronger, faster than everyone, but you were also fucking steroided up. I mean, like you needed any help to kick someone's ass. I mean, it's a good point. Can Dana White trust him? Can he trust John Jones? Fuck no, he can't.
Hell no. I mean, his track record proves it.
So how you going to do business with a guy you can't trust?
You don't.
Exactly.
But Bellator will sign him because he's a big name.
Oh, hell, dude, Bellator will jump at that in 3 seconds flat. Damn right they would.
And you know the bad thing is? Jones will probably fuck them just the way he did Dana.
Listen, I'm one of those types of people who believe if you're going to fuck one, you'll probably fuck them all.
So the Mike O'Day theory.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, why stop at one? That's the whole thing. You know, why would I only fuck one person over when I can fuck them all over? It's the whole, you know, it's that logic.
Johnson is looking to win back his title after getting 3 straight knockout victories in a total of 5 minutes. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive. That's making a statement saying, all right, I'm ready for my rematch now. I've knocked 3 motherfuckers out in a total of 5 minutes and probably made good money doing it. And now I'm ready for my title defense.
Yeah, no, that's nice. So if you've knocked out 3 people all in under 5 minutes actual fight time, then yeah, no, maybe you do deserve it. But, you know, up the ladder you go, man. You got to do it like everybody else. Just got to keep fighting. You got to keep winning.
And then in the co-main event, you have Gerard Mousasi versus former champion Chris Weidman in a middleweight matchup. Mousasi is on a 4-fight win streak, whereas Weidman is looking to bounce back after dropping his last 2 fights.
Yeah, and he needs to win that fight.
I mean, we were just talking, I know we weren't talking about, but I know, like, personally, we were just talking about this a long time, not too long ago, about how Chris Weidman, how good of a fighter he was, and, you know, he kind of dropped off the last, 6-7 months.
Well, it might have something to do with the beating that Luke Rockhold gave him. I mean, did you not see that fight? Like, dude, that fight should have ended long before it did. Like, he got the fuck beat out of him, dude. Like, that shit went on way too long.
So he's kind of like Ronda Rousey, where he got his ass kicked. Now he's kind of hesitant, and
it might be one of those where he took too fine of a beating, and it fucked his head up. Because, like Anderson Silva, you know, he lost to Chris Weidman being a smartass, and he got tagged, got knocked out, and lost his belt. Then he fought him again. He snapped his leg like a fucking spaghetti noodle. He's got a mental block over him. Like, I can't beat this guy every time he knocked me out the first time. He broke my leg the second time. I tried to kick him and I snapped my leg like a twig. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where you have a mental block on someone. And I think that he's got a mental block. I think that Luke Rockhold just beat the hell out of him too bad. And he's just never gotten over it. Like, that happens with certain fighters. Certain fighters take a fucking beating and, like, they just never come back from that beating. Like, their mind stays in that I got the living shit beat out of me stage, and they never come back.
So you have the main event, Cormier versus Johnson, and then you have the Weidman versus the Mousasi fight. That's two pretty good fights because, of course you have the rematch in the main event, and then you have this fight here where you have Chris Weidman, who, was the former champion, now losing 2 straight fights, and then, he also getting his ass kicked by Luke Rockhold.
It was bad.
I mean, is this an important fight for him? Is this one of the fights now that it's like a must-win for him?
Oh, this is a bounce-back fight in 3 seconds flat because he's got 2 losses against him, one of them being the Rockhold fight. I mean, he can't afford to lose. Like, UFC's got a fucking pretty strict policy about losing. Like, Chael Sonnen's the only person that has ever lost as much as he has, other than Forrest Griffin. Forrest Griffin's because he put on such a great fight. It didn't matter if he won or lost. There was so much blood and heart left on that mat that people didn't care if he kept losing. He gave you such a great fight. I think Chael Sonnen, everyone just likes watching him lose and get his ass kicked because other than that, if you're losing in the UFC, you're gone. You don't keep getting contracts. You buy.
I mean, look how long, what's his name? The guy, Koscheck. I mean, look at him. He's now lost, 4 or 5 fights in a row now?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's probably going to be gone. Like, I won't be a bit surprised if you don't see either one, he retires and says, you know what, I've had enough, or UFC pretty much voids his contract, and then he goes fights a couple fights over in Bellator, which, again, I mean, you're getting that name. So, I mean, you are getting that name in there, but in the same sense, you're probably only going to get 1 or 2 fights out of him.
You're getting very sloppy seconds on a very tired fighter.
Yeah. So, you know, I think this is going to be a big fight for Weidman. I mean, at this point, I think he has to win this fight. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to win this fight. This has to be the fight where you show Dana White, I'm still that guy that won the championship not too long ago.
Correct. Like and I agree with you. He has to. He doesn't have a choice.
So we also have Cynthia Calvillo versus Pearl Gonzalez. We have Thiago Alves versus Patrick Cote in the welterweight division matchup.
That's going to be a damn good fight.
See, I don't know why that's not the co-event.
That should be the co-event. I agree. Because, dude, you just said 2 names that are very well known and are definitely going to fucking scrap.
I mean, look how quick. As soon as I said both of them names, you were like, boom. I know exactly what you're talking about right there.
And I know damn well they're going to put on a good fight.
So that one's going to be really, really interesting. And then we have Will Brooks versus Charles Olivier in the featherweight matchup. So another 2 names that are probably up-and-comers that I really don't know much about. But they're probably at the bottom of the card. They'll be the first card in the main event.
After the prelims.
After the prelims, yes.
Yeah, I can tell you what, though, for all you people who don't know, some of the best fights you get on a card are the prelims. Those cats are unknown. They're fighting to make a name, and there's always some fucking there's always a fight between 2 skinny-ass 120-pound pricks that just swing for the fences, and one of them always goes to sleep. I'm telling you, it's beautiful.